Hi, this is Melissa with Quilting by Heart. So we're back today, like I promised, with the canning mat video. I am so sorry, y'all, that I have been gone for so long, but I have been very busy. My mom has been with me. She's had surgery, so she's been staying with me. And I just haven't had a lot of time. But we're making that canning mat today. And what I got here are two fat quarters, just two random fat quarters that I think are cute, and I'm giving them a good press. I'm going to press them out and make sure that I get all the wrinkles out before I start. You know, ironing, it is something that you don't have to do all the time, but it sure makes a difference in your project if you'll get the wrinkles out. So just taking a little while to get the wrinkles out. Yeah. And I'm just showing you now our fabrics. I thought these were really cute. I got this one at Walmart's with a sailboat. And the other one with the little green trucks, the fat quarter, it come from the Dollar Tree. So, yeah. Okay, here we are at the cutting mat. And we're going to be just squaring up these two fat quarters since they are from different makers and they're different sizes. And we want to get off the selvages and just make them nice and kind of square. I mean, I'm not measuring a certain measurement. I'm just taking my ruler and going around the edges and cutting off just enough to make my fat quarters square because the mat will just turn out better. We want it to be nice and square. So that's what I'm doing here, is just squaring it up. And I didn't show you, but I'm going to be cutting out a piece of batting also. That's the same size, and I'll be cutting it out and squaring it up the same size as my fat quarters. And I cut these fat quarters to 17.5 by 20.25. So, yeah. And so that's what I'll be cutting my batting to. I didn't measure my batting in a special way. I just laid it on the top and cut out around it. Yeah. So, when you make your canning mat, you want to lay down your batting first, and then you want to lay your two fat quarters with the pretty sides together on top of your batting. That's very important, and that way when you flip out your canning mat, it's going to look like it's supposed to, and it won't be inside out. So that's your piece of batting first, then your fat quarters laid on top with the pretty sides together to the inside. Okay, so now I'm going around the edges with my little wonder clips, and I'm just going to be clipping. You could pin if you don't have any clips. I just really enjoy using these little wonder clips. Sometimes I think I got this whole little tin off of Amazon for just a very little bit, $5 or $6, I think is all it costed me. And there's so many of those little clips, and the tin was cute, and I have really enjoyed using these little clips in the place of pins when you can. Now, sometimes you need to pin, but these are really, really nice to have. So, yeah, we are just going around the edges and pinning it, clipping it together. We're going to clip our project together all the way around. Except we're going to leave a little place, I guess about 5 inches there. We're going to make a little mark to start and stop our sewing so that we'll have a little place that we can reach in and turn our project. And if I don't mark it a lot of times, I will forget and just sew it all together. And then we'd have to get out the seam ripper. So I'm going to be just marking that and continuing on with my little wonder clips around. So yeah, there's my little mark that I've left so that I won't sew it all the way around and have to go back and rip it. And I will start and stop at those little marks. and we're gonna sew this. So here I am back at my machine. My stitch length is set at 3. Y'all see how I hold my mouth a lot of times when I'm sewing. It's so funny. I just do that. My brother, he's a really great guitarist, and he holds his mouth a certain way sometimes when he's playing his guitar. So I reckon crafty or creative, talented people have to hold their mouth a certain way when they're doing what they're doing. But anyways, so yeah, creative endeavors. Don't you love them? Here I am. I'm going around the edges of my project, starting and stopping at those little marks that I made so that I don't sew it all the way shut. And I'm going to be sewing with anywhere from a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch seam. Just be consistent all the way around, making sure that you're catching all 3 layers. That's very important. It's so aggravating when you go and turn something out and realize that you haven't caught it all. So I think I actually go back and re-sew just a little piece of it because I got too close to the edge, and I was like, I'd rather be safe than sorry. So yeah, I'm going to go all the way around and give it a good sew on the edges. And it's not rocket science, and it's not hard, and I'm going to be sewing, removing my little clips as I go. And I'm just going to sew to the edges and pivot. I'm not going to sew off because I want my little corners, to be caught up on the inside and be neat. So I'm not going to be sewing off of the project, but I'll be sewing and pivoting. I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. Once again, like I said, leaving that little bit of room to turn my project. Y'all look at my hair. I should have brushed my hair. I have felt so rough here lately. I've been so busy. I didn't even brush my hair. So y'all are seeing the real today. I love these kind of projects though. I like a little project that's just mindless sometimes. Doesn't take a lot of thought, doesn't take a lot of materials, doesn't take a lot of time. Just something cute that you can just sit down and whip up really fast. You could make these for presents. They would be cute, rolled up and tied up maybe, and with a ribbon, and stick some wooden spoons in it. You could make these for Christmas gifts. You could do them for the holidays in different patterns. You could embellish them with some rickrack or some binding around the outside. Now, I'm not going to be doing the binding today. I'm just doing the envelope method because I'm just so tired. I didn't feel like cutting and making a bunch of binding today. But yeah, you could absolutely do some cute contrasting binding. You could do some lace around the outside. However you wanted to do it. So yeah, now I'm just clipping my corners to take care of that extra bulk. Now be sure when you do this, just clip a little off. Don't get into your stitches. Just barely, clip to do away with the extra bulk. That way when you turn your piece, it's going to be a lot neater and it won't be so bulky in the corners. So yeah. And here I'm going into that little spot that I left. And we're going to turn it right side out and see what we have got going on so far. Oh, it's going to be cute. I'm already liking it. I'm already liking it. I think my husband came in. Did you see him kiss me on my cheek? He's picking with me today. So I'm trying to poke out my corners, and I'm going to get this little tool that I've got. I don't know what that thing is called. They use it in the medical field. It's not a pair of scissors. It's got a little blunt tip on it. You don't want to use scissors a lot of times to turn out your little points because you will actually poke a hole through your project, and that is so aggravating. So I'm just going to get these little, they clamp. What do they call those things? I used to know what those things were called. I hate when I can't remember something that I know. But you could use a chopstick if you had a chopstick, a little turning tool. I have a point turner somewhere, but there's no telling where that thing is. So we're just going to use that to go in. A hemostat. That is exactly what that is. It's a hemostat. We're going to use it just to barely poke out these corners. Just a little bit. Not poking too hard on it. Now, we've got our little opening left, and I'm going to go and iron all of that under so that we can catch it up. I ironed that under, and now I'm back at my machine, and we're going to just take a little top stitch all the way around the edges at about 1/8 of an inch, I would say. That's making sure that we catch all of that little opening that we left to turn our project. Top stitching is it's such a finishing step. I mean, it just makes your project look so good if you learn how to top stitch. It helps things a lot. Don't forego the ironing and don't forego the top stitching when you can, because it really just takes it up a notch. And I'm not sewing off the edges. I'm sewing to the edges and pivoting. And I'm going to top stitch all the way around my little canning mat. And when we get that done, we are very much on the home stretch with this little canning mat. I thought this one would have been so cute if it would have had some rickrack on the outside. I thought I had some white rickrack. I need to look it up and start using it for some of my projects. But yeah, I'm just sewing all 4 sides with that top stitch. Being sure to catch up all those raw edges that were left for it to be turned under. Just want it to be nice and neat as it can be. Okay, here we go. So are you a top stitcher? Do y'all do a lot of top stitching? I know that it really makes a difference. It does. Even when you're sewing garments, the little top stitch around the neck facing and stuff, it makes such a difference. Or around the sleeves, it really, it's like a lady said the other day, it takes it from homemade to handmade. Okay, we're finished with our top stitching, and we're going to put a few quilting lines. I didn't do a cross hatch, and I made a mistake here. This is where I made my mistake for the day. Oh, that's cute. I like both sides of it. When I decided to go ahead and quilt this without using my walking foot, so I'm just putting some straight lines. I put about 3 straight lines from one side to the other down the middle and on each side, and it did have a few little tucks in it. I'll be honest with y'all, it would have been so much better if I'd have took the time to get out my walking foot, but at this point I am not going back ripping out all these seams. This is going to be mine. If I was giving it for a gift, if I was making these to sell, it would be different, but this is just mine, and I'm not going back and ripping out stitches. But yeah, I would recommend using your walking foot when you're going through this many layers, because I did come out with a few little tucks, I'll be honest. So I should have got out my walking foot. Like I said, I didn't quilt it in a crosshatch pattern. I didn't, do a free motion stipple or anything like that. This is just utilitarian to keep it together. There, I'm shaking my head over my little tucks. But I am not, like I said, ripping it out. We're just going on. We're forging ahead. Lesson learned. Next time we'll know. But yeah, we've got this almost done. And we're just putting some straight lines down the middle just to keep the batting and the pieces together in the wash, so they won't separate in the wash and get wadded up. So yeah, and our project, it's done just like that. It is done, and I'm going to show y'all some pictures. I'm going to be showing y'all some pictures of it used as a trivet and used as a canning mat for your hot processed foods when they come out of your water bath canner or your pressure canner. I'm going to show y'all some pictures at the end. And I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial. You can give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave a comment. Subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed already. And this has been a really quick one and a really short one. But I enjoy these kind of projects. When my mind is tired, when I'm physically worn out, I just really enjoy these simple projects like this. What about y'all? Do you enjoy a simple project? I do. So there it is. And I think it turned out kind of cute. Like I said, I'm going to show you a few pictures at the end that I've styled. And this has been Melissa. Until next time, saying, have a great day. Bye, y'all.